All right, everyone, in my last video I talked a little bit about managing occipital neuralgia. In this video I want to talk a little bit more about the connection between occipital neuralgia and adult orthodontic expansion, since I mentioned in my last video that the whole way that I came to all of this jaw hacking was from my occipital neuralgia condition. Again, to repeat, occipital neuralgia is a pain condition in which the occipital nerves, which are nerves at the back of the neck, are in a very sensitive, sort of constantly inflamed, compressed state where if you don't manage that area, those nerves get set off and you end up with a terrible headache and a terrible nausea type episode that can last a day or more. So what is the connection between occipital neuralgia and mewing, adult orthodontics, expansion, airway, etc.? It's very simple. It all comes down to posture. Occipital neuralgia for me has always been triggered by poor posture, by slouching, by screen time. Okay? Because when this area is not in a good form, then that area becomes tight, it becomes tense, and then those nerves get squeezed. Those nerves get caught up in that muscular cascade of tightness. And that's what sets off the condition for me. Posture has always been a trigger for me. Well, what does orthodontics, mewing, expansion, what does that have to do with posture? Well, the key is the airway. When the airway, which is the throat, the mouth, the nasal passage, where we breathe, when that is too small, that causes a compressed neck posture. That causes this. Why? Because when the airway is too small, the tongue falls back into the throat because our mouths are too small, because our maxillas are too recessed, because our mandible is too recessed, because our maxilla is too recessed. The tongue falls into the throat, and then we compensate for that by going like this. Because when we go like this, the tongue, even though it's in the throat, the airway opens up and we can breathe in spite of the tongue being in the throat. So the goal for me was to make my mouth bigger, to improve my breathing, to get my tongue out of my throat by making my mouth bigger so that I wouldn't have to constantly be in this type of posture. Because that posture was setting off my headaches. So really, I didn't come to this out of aesthetics, although I know and I respect that many of my viewers do. That's fine. Aesthetic improvement is a perfectly reasonable thing to aspire to. But for me, it was about managing occipital neuralgia. It was about expanding my airway so that I could elongate my neck posture, like you see. I wanted to elongate my neck posture from this to this, so that my musculature in the occipital area at the back of my neck wasn't in a constant state of tension. And although I've been through hell and back with acrylic expanders and AGA and MSE and a mess made out of my mouth, I have achieved a larger airway, mostly with MSE. MSE has just been insane for my oral volume and for my airway, and thus in turn for my neck posture. MSE, by splitting my suture, by expanding my intermolar width a ton, and by expanding my nasal floor a ton, has allowed me to get my tongue up and out of my throat and has allowed me to habituate a elongated rather than a compressed neck posture. And this has been a very positive development for my occipital neuralgia management. But I thought I'd throw this video out there for anyone wondering why I came to all this and what the connection is between neck posture, occipital neuralgia, and adult orthodontics. Hope it's of benefit to you. All right, everyone. Have a good day. Peace.